Well, I'm back in the garden, and our maple tree bucket is doing really well. It's time for them to come out and be potted up into individual pots, so I can use this for the garden. And then the rest of our garden is starting to do better. And the cabbage stump is giving me lots of seeds like I expected. Our potato bed, the beans way in the back there, are starting to come above the bucket, and we remove the screen so they can climb the trellis. And then the potato bed, I gotta hill it up again. I've done it about 3 times, but I only add about 1 inch of soil, so it's been slow. And I take my time, but it gets done. And then the trellis will serve another purpose elsewhere. And then down here in the garden, we put the mesh from the top of the beans to cover an area where I put some baby tomato plants so the squirrels don't dig them up trying to look for bean seeds or corn seeds. So, and same thing here, the old tomato cages. The rust not only fertilizes the soil, but it makes them a little more difficult for the animals to come scratching around. They still get in there, as you can see in the one spot. Whenever I come over here, they come down immediately after I leave to investigate and see if there's anything. Even though I throw them crackers and stuff, peanuts or whatever, over on the driveway. If I didn't, it would be worse. I know, I'm feeding more baby squirrels. So we got to get all this unbagged and into the garden. We got another bin over there with beefsteak tomato seeds that I got in line from the little shop of seeds, and they're doing pretty good. I planted 6 in there, even though 4 would have been better. So 2 of them will be moved or removed to make room for the 4 winners, so to speak. And then we made another bin with the milk cartons, and I found out that having space open all the way to the bottom is not good. So we stuck another bottle in to cover this hole and the hole between the 4 milk cartons because it wasn't tight enough, and then I stuck sticks into the sides where there were some larger openings. So this is all ready. We can take our bucket of dirt, and we got some half a bucket here of what is it, like clay loam, and some composted tree stump in there because the tree fell over on the property. And so we'll throw that into the bucket, lighten it up a little bit. I take the bigger stones out. There isn't too many stones. When you do find them, they're usually pretty good size. And then, as you can see, the importance is that you don't want your roots to be too soggy, but a water root can go down if it wants to and get water. But the roots to suck up the nutrients have to, or break down nutrients, have to be in a place where they're able to stay above the water. So it leads me to believe that there's 2 different kinds of roots, at least, if not more, on plants. So we take the rest of this bucket and dump it in on top. And we evened it out, and that's perfect. Get out the rock. And then we'll turn around and add our nice compost on the top. And some of our nicer garden soil with nutrients to give them a good kickstart. So, We're still waiting for our romaine plant here to give us seed, so we're not picking any leaves off of it because we only have one. And our celery is still doing pretty good. The first one has got lots of leaves but hasn't gotten any bigger, and the other one is starting to produce leaves. So, good thing. And we broadcasted some there's some Swiss chard and carrot seeds coming up. And the red onions seem to be very happy that we started to sprout small ones in the bag. We saved them for the garden. And then closer look at our tomato plants, and they're doing quite well. No squirrel digging or breaking off because they're protected. And we got 4 in the center and 1 in that corner and that one, but I didn't put it in the other 2 corners. And that way we have 6 plants in there, and because the size of the plants is really too many, it should be 4, so there's going to be 4 winners. And then our potatoes are doing excellent. A couple sunflowers that were planted in there, and they're coming up, and then they'll give us some sunflowers in the middle of the garden. And I only planted them on this end because this end of the garden gets more sun than that end. So, and the white lettuce reflects some of the light back into the garden as it's going overhead and down into the garden. The corn bed's doing good. They're just starting to peek out over there. And the peas are perked back up, even though it's been warmer weather. They're in a shady location, so they seem to be appreciating that right now. So this is the latest I've ever had peas. They're usually done by now, or almost done. So we're doing that. And then the other bed is cuttings I stuck in the soil that rooted. And we're rehabbing this bed for the squash. And we're going to add a bag of cow manure in there because they're heavy feeders. And over here we've got a few bean plants coming up. We're going to put cucumbers over here, and we got some lilies that I planted the bulbs, and they keep sending up little babies all over the place. And we also got morning glories growing here, which is nice because the flowers amongst the cucumbers actually makes it more decorative. So if you had to have a garden somewhere where people had to see it, and they probably don't appreciate the food as much as the flowers, you can interplant. And these morning glories, I don't buy seeds. They come up every year. They reseed themselves. And they'll cover this table trellis, which is covered with twine that I got from Dollar Tree. And I just patiently wrapped it like it was fishnet. And this is the 2nd year, maybe 3rd, because I had netting on here, but it decayed. And there's a mountain laurel in the back there. And, they do usually better at a little bit higher elevation, but we brought one down from the mountain, and it's been here for several years, and I trimmed it up and gave it a little fertilizer, and it came back to life. So and that's our garden for today. And one more plant here. This is lovage. It looks like a giant celery plant. Every once in a while you'll see a nature or garden store that sells it. It's considered to some people like an antique unless you buy the seed online. And I saved the seed from mine, so I've got plenty of seed to trade if anybody wanted some lovage. And it's supposed to be a biennial. Seeds the 2nd year, and then after that it can die back and grow from its own seed again. So at this point, going on its 4th year, we don't know if this is the original plant or if it's one of the babies from the seed. Because even though they're biennials, they've been known to live even 3, sometimes 4 years. So keep that in mind, that if you don't till or no-till, you get the benefits of things coming back. If you till, then you gotta buy all over again. So have a nice day. Spend it in your garden, no matter how big or small it is.